So anyway, the other thing that I found really interesting is Piers Morgan obviously had made these controversial statements about Ariana right after the tragic and very saddening bombings at her concert in Manchester, criticizing her for not visiting, for not visiting the victims.
Yes.
And this was off the back of a tweet from Katy Perry when the Queen visited, and she was saying, how good of the Queen to have gone visit, and he said, oh well, she is, but also Ariana should have gone. Now, of course, he got a huge amount of backlash for that statement because it was clearly ridiculous. I kind of think, she's a victim as well. Mm-hmm. Anybody who was at that concert and you're in that space and this thing has happened, you're going to have some trauma.
Absolutely.
Right? So she did the sort of thing that everybody would have done in her shoes, and indeed people who were there, they you go home to see your family, you want to get their reassurance, their protection, whatever, and he made a big thing of it. And and I think it's reasonable that she did go home and she wanted to probably see her family and mm-hmm. Feel secure, because of course naturally you're afraid, you're scared, aren't you? Something like that happens, and on top of it, you are it's your concert and people have come to see you and they get killed and injured. I mean, you must feel a huge sense of responsibility for that, and I can't imagine how putting the other trauma aside of just fear of your own life and just that sense of helplessness, on top of it, you just don't know what to do. So of course you do what everybody would do. You run to the people that your family, your friends, people who can sort of comfort you through that. And he wasn't having any of it. So anyway, very shortly after that, she announced that she was going to come back to the UK and launch her One Love tour, or One Love concert rather, which was going to be in aid of all the victims and their families. You know what really annoys me?
Yeah.
Is that he's got a massive audience, a massive platform, and people have died and been affected in a horrific attack. The only thing he could come out and do, to use his platform to do, is to target one of the victims.
Absolutely.
Because regardless of what he thinks, she was involved in this. She's been impacted by it, not just because she's a performer. She's a human being. She was impacted and affected by it, and she reacted in a very human way. But the point is that what was he doing? Absolutely. With his massive platform, and whilst other stars and people with similar platforms to him were fundraising and starting up, working with the Red Cross to raise funds in aid of the victims and their families, all he could do is go on Twitter to sling mud at somebody who is obviously going to be affected by this issue, by this horrific attack.
Absolutely. And I think that is just another Piers Morgan incident, isn't it? Unfortunately. But that seems to paint a very dark picture of his character, I would think.
Well, he doesn't have any character, does he? No. I think, he is literally just about... He's what you call... He's one of those people who literally just does things to get a reaction. And I think he's actually addicted to it.
Anyways, but then Ariana actually went and saw victims today. She went to the hospital in Manchester and met many of the injured children there. But equally, she also went and visited some families who sadly actually lost relatives in the tragic event.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the right thing to do.
Absolutely. And most importantly, she's helping.
Yeah, exactly. Which still... As far as I know, Piers Morgan hasn't done anything. If he has, he's kept it very, very much a secret. But it wouldn't be in his character to do that, would it?
Certainly not.
He would be shouting it from the rooftops if he had done anything.
Yes.
Anyways, sadly, I just read about 10 minutes ago that there's been another suspected attack, this time in London Bridge. There are reports saying that a van was driven into a crowd of people at London Bridge. So the reports say about 20 people were hurt so far, but we don't know if there are any casualties or anything like that. It's a suspected terrorist attack, but they haven't confirmed that yet. Again, unconfirmed reports of gunshot and apparently a stabbing.
Yeah.
But again, it's all very sketchy, so no details as yet. But apparently, the security services swooped in very, very quickly and were, on the scene and, were there. But it just sounds very much like Westminster Bridge all over again. It's, very scary. So, hopefully those people haven't been, haven't sustained, life-threatening injuries, and people will make it through. And let's see how the story unfolds.
Yeah, it's certainly scary times, isn't it?